Welcome to the VarsityCans.com Prep Football Friday. I'm Joanna Chadwick. This is Tony Adame. And it is our last football video of the year.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. All right, well, we already have two state champions. It was Spearville winning its first boys title in any sport. Frankly, Spearville was playing in the 8-man-1 championship game. It was their first title game of any sport. And it was very cool to see Willie Cauley-Stein, who, of course, grew up in Spearville, went there for his first 2 years of high school, tweeting out how proud he was of Spearville.
He was a football player, actually. He was a pretty decent wide receiver until he grew to about 7 feet. He was still pretty good.
He had a great senior season when he was at Olathe Northwest. I mean, really phenomenal. But in 8-man-2, it was Victoria who eked out a win over Attica Argonia there. So, pretty exciting game. All right, let's move on to Class 6A championship this week. And we've got Blue Valley, which is 10-2, playing Derby, which is 11-1. Tony, you're going to be at this game. And Derby, to me, is playing incredible football. They have been for a while, both offensively and defensively. I just feel like they're the whole package here.
Yeah, they do, and it's something that shaped itself over the course of the year. And you make such a good point about their defense. They're attacking the line of scrimmage. Their defensive backs are covering well. The game against Free State, I covered the semifinal game. Some of the harder hits I've seen the entire season, they were just totally trying to annihilate Bryce Torneden. Free State's great quarterback, and, you know, to his credit, he kept getting back up. I mean, they can really hit people. They can really swarm to the ball. Not a star player, just a lot of really, really good players all playing team defense.
I love what Brady Rust has done offensively. And Tony and I, we were talking about him earlier today, just about, you know, Garrett Sanders goes down, Christian Breedlove comes in, and Christian's a good running back. But the fact is, there's no doubt that that offense is squarely on Brady Rust, and he's put up the yards both passing and through his running.
Yeah, you know, he was their only breakaway threat running the ball after Garrett got hurt. But what he's done is develop as a passer over the course of the year, and you could see that against Free State, where even after the game, Derby coach Brandon Clark said he wished they would have thrown more. He's throwing the accurate routes across the middle. He's going downfield a little bit more. I don't know much about his arm strength, but, you know, and running the ball, he's run for almost 2,000 yards this year. So he has become the complete package.
Moving on to Class 5A, it'll be Mill Valley, which gave Derby its only loss. They're 11-1. Mill Valley's one loss is to a Missouri team. And they'll be playing Carroll, which is 11-1. You know, Carroll, which has won 11 straight games, which has battled one injury after another. We've talked about it all season, chronicled it all season, because it's not happening to players we don't know about. It's happening to their big name players, and they continue to win. And to me, it is such a credit to these kids, and yet here they are. They've got a chance to defend their state title.
This is not a spot. You know, if you tell me this a month ago, they'd get here. I didn't think that was going to happen because they lost so many players. I mean, like you said, they're losing all-state players. They're losing Dugan, Honus on defense. They lose their quarterback for a little while. They lose their backup quarterback even. They get down to the third string. They're still winning games in the state playoffs, but it'd be tough to doubt anything they could do at this point, but Mill Valley is so tough.
Mill Valley is incredibly tough. I think Carroll is really going to have its hands full here. This will be the best team that they've faced since they played Northwest in that season opener. Yeah. Moving on to Class 4A Division 1, it is Miege, which won in 2014. They are 11-1, and they are playing Andover Central, which is 10-2. And, you know, it's interesting the matchup of these two teams because what Miege has is three explosive offensive players in their quarterback, in their running back Dawson Downing, and a receiver Jafar Armstrong. And what does Andover Central have? I mean, as a fan, this is going to be an incredible game. Defense really needs to come through here, but you're looking at Andover Central's three biggest players: quarterback Peyton Huslig, running back Jordan Birch, and Daraja Parnell at wide receiver. I think this could be an incredibly high-scoring game unless these defenses really show out.
Yeah, and I think that we had said all year, and maybe I was a little bit wrong, that they couldn't get this far with just three players they rely on, but they really have. And
maybe that's our fault, because maybe we're the ones who have focused so much in on these stars that we haven't looked beyond that. Because what did they do against that Hayden offense?
They won pretty easily, yeah. They didn't really, you know, they did something against Hayden that we didn't think they'd do. They held them to 2 points. Their defense did.
I did not think that was going to be possible because when you looked at the first time that they played in the first game of district play, you know, it was 77-39 plays. 77 Hayden plays. I didn't think that was going to be able to change.
And I feel like, you know, in this game, really, Parnell is going to be the X factor because he can return kicks, he can return punts. He plays receiver. He can play a little defense if he had to. He's so electric, and put him in this big game. I'm curious to see how he performs.
I'm curious to see how will those kind of no-name guys stand up, and we're going to be writing about a couple of them this week too. We'll also be having a feature on Brady Russ this week as well as a feature on Bishop Carroll. And moving on to 4A Division II, it is Holton, which that's a team I don't know if I expected them to be at this point. They started off the season so slowly. They're 9-3. They're playing Holcomb, which upended Andale last week, and frankly, Trey Teeter is an incredible quarterback. He's put up crazy numbers this year, and Holton is really going to have to keep them off the field and be able to get those long sustained drives, which is what we know Holton to be able to do. In Class 3A, we will also have a feature on Wichita Collegiate, which is 13-0, playing Roswell, which is 13-0. You know, I have to admit to being incredibly impressed with Collegiate and what they did against Halstead. Halstead has put up impressive numbers all season long offensively. They're also a physical defense. And yet Collegiate overcame, Halstead didn't make it easy on Collegiate's offense. And yet Collegiate held the Halstead offense in check. And that was really fascinating to see.
And I thought in your article, you should cover the game this week, that you did such a good point of pointing out that Collegiate all year long, people maybe say they're finesse, people don't say they're soft, but they're more of a high octane, high attack kind of team, and they really came out and they hit them in the mouth.
They did.
And it kind of, that juxtaposition between the country school and the city school, where you think that they're going to be the tougher ones, maybe not the case. And Collegiate really, they took stock in that, and they really wanted to show how physical they were. And they, to run the table, to have the chance to go 14-0 is amazing.
And I have to admit, I did ask Will Locke from Collegiate. I said, "So you aren't just pretty boys?" And he said, "We're not just pretty boys, no. Not at all." All right. And as for who's going to win this game, I think this is incredibly difficult to call because Roswell is a defending champion. You've got Carroll defending champ, you've got Roswell and Miege all trying to defend their titles. Roswell's got Tucker Horak, who is this quarterback who has done amazing things both running and throwing the ball. His numbers are they're like those kind of Madden type numbers, or whatever video game from back in the day.
That's the Chadwick boys. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll ask my kids about it later. But, it's going to be a matchup where that defense has got to get some hits on him and slow him down. And he's able to evade tackles. They're going to have to be able to make that tackle immediately. All right. And in Class 2-1A, it is Troy 10-1 versus Phillipsburg 10-2. Interestingly enough, neither one of them has won a state title. Neither one of them has played in a state title game. So there you go. I know it's a great week for high school football. I don't know how good that weather is going to be on Saturday. I'm hopeful for some sunshine, but I don't think it's going to happen. But still, it'll be some great football. So I hope that you get out to a game and enjoy it. Thanks so much for watching. Tony, Adame, and I.